What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. And last time you said that you really enjoyed the faceless YouTubers video. If you haven't watched it, it's linked down below. It's a good one. I recommend it a lot. So I thought, why not have another bit of a story time? A question I get asked a lot is actually if I have ever crashed my motorcycle. And I've had my license for about 4 years. I think I'm pushing 5 years right now. I don't know. I'm not really certain anymore. And during that time, I have actually crashed. I have never actually crashed my own bike, but we're gonna get into that. So I thought, why not talk about every time I crashed or dropped my bike, and maybe it will help you guys get over a little bit of this fear of dropping your bike or crashing your bike. And I don't know, maybe it helps, maybe it helps. Other than that, I do hope you enjoy the story. Most of them are rather fun, and I'm gonna address them in a chronological order because I think that makes the most sense. So the most intense one isn't at the very beginning. With that being said, let's start the video. Alright, so the first time I actually crashed was 2015. I was 16 years old, just learning how to drive with a school on a Honda CB125. Is that what they're called? You know, Honda's naked 125s. It was very new at the time, did not have ABS when I was riding it, so it was a bit of a killing machine. So the first practice we did was just go straight, brake, turn around, brake. And at this time, all I've done is learn how to ride, and I drove the highway there. That's all I've done. And in this practice, you go down and then you have to do a rather tight turn to get back up. And surrounding you is like, hold on, surrounding you is like 2 ditches. Yeah, and they're filled with grass, rocks, all kinds of stuff. So what I do, because I'm an idiot, is I go down this and we have like intercoms, and I'm like, what do I do now, sir? And he's like, oh, just turn around and do it on your way back up. And he proceeds to walk away because, you know, this is a simple practice. It doesn't even have to be looking, really. And all he hears after that is, ah! And I remember because he was like, what the hell was that? And what I did was I was about to turn. Hi. Alright, distraction is over. I have no idea where I was in my story, but I think I was about to tell you what happened, why I said, ah! So basically what happened is I was taking the corner, and we can actually recreate it here. Let's pretend the ditch is the road I was gonna take. I did like this. I turned, and now I'm supposed to move my head like there, but I just kept staring into the ditch. I did not move my head accordingly, so I started going towards the ditch. And what's your reaction when you knew when you go towards the ditch? You don't do this, you do this. Right into the corner. So I went right down into the ditch, fell over and everything. It was an embarrassing time all around. I think I broke a part of the bike as well, but he just played it cool. He's like, it's no big deal. But I saw the shame. I saw the shame in his eyes. And that's the first time I ever actually crashed on a motorcycle, and I didn't even know what I was doing back then. First time riding alone, and I crashed it. So if you're afraid of crashing your motorcycles, look at me now. I am very bad at riding motorcycles, but I have a license, so don't be discouraged. The second time I actually crashed my motorcycle, also with the driving school, or what it's called, and this one is not my fault. All right, this was actually a serious crash, and I really wished I had my camera back then, but I did not, because, you know, I had no plans of starting motovlogging or anything back then. I just liked watching motovlogs. I never thought I would do them myself. I had one driving coach, another person who was training, and then me. This other person was really good. He was far along. He was about to have his driving exam and all that kind of stuff. I was brand spanking new. This was my first time riding on these kinds of roads. This is perfect. This was almost the exact road. We come to a straight where it's a 60 road. So my driving coach tells me, crank it. He's like, you gotta go 60 now. You're on a 60 road, which means you gotta go 60. An experienced motorcyclist would know this. You see the straight, you go up to 60, you see the corner, you do this. You slow down right before the corner, and then you get a leveled speed, then you go into the corner, all right? You never go, you don't brake right before the corner, and you don't brake in the corner, and you don't brake way before. You gotta have stable speed before you go in. But I, brand spanking new, took a 90-degree corner with one of those signs that's like, hey, be careful, this is a very, very, like, corner. And I went in 60 kilometers an hour. I have never done it before. I went straight in, and I think I got, maybe if this is the corner, we can recreate it. I think I got right into here when I realized I had to lean more, which I did. I got scared, pulled the brake, watched the freaking ditch. Yeah, that's Sweden for you. Every place is like this. It's horrible. So I pulled in the brake, stared into the ditch because I was scared of it, and I flew like over the bike like this. I don't know how it happened. That's the last part I remember. This exact motion. I think I maybe high-sided when I pulled the brake in the corner. Flew down into the ditch. Motorcycle flew up and was about to hit me, but my pants was stuck in the motorcycle and actually flinged me with it. So it landed where I wasn't anymore, but I like flinged around and hit my entire body against the side of the ditch, which hurt a lot. But I think it's better than getting a motorcycle on your head. I don't know, that's just my guess. By some goddamn miracle, the bike actually survived. It lost this front guard here, whatever that's called. It was bent in a lot of places, and when you went straight, your steering was kind of like this. Now I'm going straight, my steering's like this. And I actually got away without any major injuries. I got some small injuries, but considering it was a 60 kilometers an hour high side basically into a ditch, and I wasn't hurt more than that, I could have been freaking murdered there. I was 16 years old. I don't think you know, I used to be super skinny. I weighed maybe 50 kilograms then. If that had landed on me, I would have been dead. So, a little spoiler for you guys, if you were here to hear about crashes, I have actually never crashed with my own motorcycle, as I mentioned before. So now I'm gonna talk about more embarrassing moments and parts that actually damaged my bike, and just embarrassing stuff all around. It's not stories I usually tell people when I try to sound cool, but I'm gonna tell them right now because I am a fool. I should be a rapper. So imagine this, I'm still 16, I got a brand new Yamaha MT-07. I finally get to ride it. I ride it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and it's very appropriate we're here right now, because around here, I don't know exactly where, I stopped and I was like, I gotta make a U-ey, because I've been in a complete wrong place. And it was a road like this, huge road. And I begin to do the U-ey, I go here, begin to do it here, and I drop it in the middle. Bah! It drops on its side. Bah! Most embarrassing part in my entire life. Bah! I was like, oh no, brand new motorcycle, I just dropped it. My parents are gonna kill me. Everyone's gonna kill me. When traffic comes, they're gonna laugh at me. And I was like, okay, I gotta get this up and get this embarrassment over. But that's when the real embarrassment happened. As I said, I was very weak at this point. I was a very skinny boy. I couldn't lift up my 125. A 125, I couldn't lift it up. I couldn't get it up. It was, I get shivers talking about it right now. It was the most embarrassing part in my entire life, because I stood there for maybe like 10 minutes, and there was construction workers a little bit ahead just looking. And after a while, one guy comes walking over slowly, and he's like, you need help with this? And I'm like, yeah. And he grabs it with one hand while I grab two, and he is whoop, and he's on the other side, so it goes up to his leg, and he's like, hey, you're welcome. And I'm like, oh, shit. That was the first time I ever dropped my own bike. So if you're worried about that, don't worry, it can't be worse than me. Did you hear that story? Imagine that, 16 years old. You know how fragile my ego was? I was a skinny, short 16-year-old who got a motorcycle to look cool, and now I dropped it and can't lift it up. It broke me. And the only other time when I actually dropped my 125 was when I was gonna sell it. So basically what happened was that we have a car in the same cage that I have my motorcycle. Imagine a parking square, but it has like, it's caged in. That's basically what it is. During the winter, what we do is we, at the far end of the parking, at the top, so to say, if this is the parking, it's like this, and you pull in like this. Up here, right up here, is where I park my motorcycle sideways, so that you can fit an entire car in there. Problem with that is you gotta lift it to get it in there. You know, you put it on its side stand and you spin it, and then you lift it the last bit, because you gotta get it pushed against the wall. Time comes, time to sell my motorcycle. It's time to upgrade. I'm actually 18 at this point. It's time for me to buy my MT-07. Would you believe it? I grab it, and keep in mind, first of all, I'm very cocky at this point, because right now I've gone from weighing 50 to weighing 70, and I'm kind of, okay, I'm not gonna brag. I'm not buff, but you can see that that guy works out, and I'm like, yeah, I can get this out, no problems. I don't need your help, Dad. And I lift the back, and the freaking kickstand goes up, and it falls on its sides, and it freaking snaps straight off, scratches this peg down here, and scratches the engine block. And I think it pushed away like 7,000 Swedish crowns, which is basically like $700 off the price when I sold it, just because I was so cocky and dropped it. But finally I have my MT-07, and it might shock some of you to know that I have actually dropped this bike not once, not twice, but actually twice. I lied. You should never believe me. It was twice. I had a girl on the back, you know how it is. So I had one of my friends on the back. So we go into basically like a dead end. I think you could call it a dead end. You know, when you have a little area to turn around, maybe the area is almost like this big. Usually they build in a little. It's just a place for you to turn around. And this one is actually gravel, which I thought, you know what, this is no problem. I've done this on gravel several times. Two problems in this situation. I've never been here before, and I have a passenger. First thing that happens is I go into it like this, and my wheel sinks, which means it wasn't a thin layer gravel, it's deep. There's no road, there's just gravel. It's not road and gravel, just gravel. I was not ready for that. My wheels start spinning. I'm like, no problem, this has happened before. I'll put my foot down and I can like scooch up, you know. Second problem, I have a passenger. It was way too heavy, so it drifted away from me and did a full freaking 180 on the gravel when it was already on its side, scratching up this entire goddamn side. My passenger flies off, I fly off, we're fine because it's a pathetic crash. And it's just like, oh no. Oh no, still 18 at the time when this happened. But if you're wondering why I haven't showed you any footage from this, it's because even though I was recording all of these accidents, when I was 16, I deleted them. And when I was 18, I deleted them because I didn't know I would do motovlogs and they would profit me. I was just embarrassed. I would love to show you guys those right now. Those are some pretty nice crashes. I think you would like them. They're very aesthetic. And I'm actually remembering right now that I can't talk about the second time I crashed my motorcycle. You know, I'm a comedian. Most of this is just a skit. This is entertainment. So take this all with a grain of salt. This is no confession. This is just me, you know, just talking. Just making words go. Now, you know, I'm a character. This isn't me. This is Danof. All right, now with that out of the way. I got it repaired with my insurance because I totally crashed it myself. All right, I totally did. It was me. Yeah. All right. So you shut your mouth. I had to take my motorcycle into the shop. So I didn't have a motorcycle for so long. And you can actually see this on my channel because I had actually started uploading at this point. I think I have 2 videos right before my motorcycle gets not totaled, but this side was almost totaled. The videos you can watch is I think it's a tutorial for how to drive a motorcycle and a motovlogger's worst nightmare. And then you can see a gap. It's like a month gap or something like that. Sadly, I can't talk about that. That was actually also caught on camera. Can't show that. I can show it in like 10 years, all right? And with that being said, I do hope you enjoy this story time. I hope it wasn't too long. It felt like I was blabbing on forever. I have a very hard time of realizing how long I've been out once I start recording. It's my biggest curse. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider smashing that subscribe button and maybe even hit that like. It would mean a lot to me. We're trying to reach 10K. Actually, on that note, back to serious, we just reached 8K, which I'm super grateful for. An 8K special video will be coming up. I didn't think we would hit it right now, so it's in production. It's in production. It's in production. Okay, it's in production. I'm working on it.
And a special thank you to patrons Adam Page RC, Amu, and Misha Blazer.